Hello, welcome back to the YouTube channel. I am Nick from Australia. Hope you guys are doing well on this Friday night. Welcome back to the Friday night football review for round 4 of the NRL. We witnessed 2 games of football tonight. We saw the Panthers beat the Warriors 26 points to 0. And we just saw the Melbourne Storm beat the South Sydney Rabbitohs 22 points to 8. What a night of football. We saw some good stuff and we saw some shit stuff. Let's get into the review. For crying out loud, the Warriors. Where do I even begin with the Warriors? For crying out loud, they just proved to me and probably half of the people who watch the NRL, or half the world, the Warriors are officially the most unpredictable, the most inconsistent rugby league team that I have ever seen, and I don't think there's any other team that goes close to this. For crying out loud, how do New Zealand win 18-0 against the Dragons, complete every set except for 2, and then not score one fucking try against the Panthers tonight? Fuck me dead. The Warriors, what on earth is going on? I understand there's a lot of injuries, a lot of shit going on there with players and all that, but come on. There's no excuse for that tonight. You don't win 18-0 one week and lose 26-0 the next. That's ridiculous. I thought the Warriors tonight were really, really poor. I thought their defense was really shit. I thought their discipline was very average as well. Their forwards got absolutely rolled through the middle, especially by James Fisher-Harris, who absolutely mauled them tonight. I thought Fisher-Harris was brilliant for the Panthers, one of the best on field. I thought Luai and Burton absolutely outplayed Blake Green and Cody Nikorima. The Warriors didn't do enough running from dummy half. They were getting absolutely mauled through the middle. At half time, I thought, the Warriors weren't too bad, Panthers' first 2 tries, Burton scored off a knock-on from the Warriors, and then off a charge down. They were flukish tries from the Panthers, but the Warriors, they just had no answers for it. They couldn't score a point. And then when Luai scored, I went, well, that's fucking it now. 16-0 at half-time, it's over. The Warriors won't come back from this. And they were just an absolute mess. I thought Jerome Luai, Matt Burton, and James Fisher-Harris were the best 3 players on the field by a country mile. Especially Fisher-Harris and Burton. They were brilliant, If I had to give a man the match, I'd go from 3 to 1. I'd go, number 3, I'd go Jerome Luai. Number 2, I would go with James Fisher-Harris, made over 200 metres. And number 1, I'd go with Matt Burton. His kicking game was brilliant. I thought he controlled the game really well, scored 2 lovely tries, and I thought he was best on ground, The Panthers' attack on the goal line, for mine, is still way too structured, especially when they attack. They go one play with the 5'8", and they go decoy run, then they go out the back to the fullback, and then they get caught. But they got to fix up their attack on the goal line. It's a bit clunky. They get Nathan Cleary back next week, which will probably be a big in for the Panthers. And I hope Matt Burton stays at number 6. But I wouldn't be surprised if Luai gets the nod. But we'll see what happens. But as for the Warriors, I got no answers for the Warriors. They're just hot and cold. You don't know what you're going to get from the Warriors. They're one of those sides that will fuck your multi up. And well done to the Panthers on a fantastic win. I give the Warriors' performance a 2 out of 10. You don't score fucking 18 points one week and concede no points, and then the next week you concede 26 and you don't do anything. So Panthers the Warriors for mine get a 2 out of 10. And as for the Panthers, I give the Panthers' performance a 8 out of 10. Conceded no tries, so well done to the Panthers on a good win. Man, the match for me goes to Matt Burton. On to the game that we just seen, Melbourne versus South Sydney. Well, Melbourne were brilliant in the second half. And the game itself wasn't great, I thought South Sydney were pretty good for the first 30 minutes, but for God's sakes, after that, they just fell into a fucking ditch and they could not get out. The first 30 minutes of the game, I thought South were the better side. For 30 minutes, they were the better side, South Sydney. And then when Melbourne scored with 10 minutes to half time, Souths just fucking fell into a heap. 8-6 at half time, Melbourne led. And I thought they were going pretty well, but then South Sydney made so many errors in the second half. What I will say about South Sydney was they're just not good enough at the moment. They can't seem to get anything right. They made about 17 errors, I think it was, the whole night. They made so many errors. You're playing Melbourne and Melbourne. It's arguably the toughest road trip in the competition, one of the biggest games of the season for any club, and you get beat. You make 17 errors in Melbourne. What, are you fucking nervous? What are you doing, South Sydney? And the other thing I will say about South Sydney was, in the first half, Latrell Mitchell at fullback was actually quite good. I actually enjoyed Latrell Mitchell's first half performance. I'd give Latrell Mitchell, in the first half, maybe a 6 or 7 out of 10. But in the second half, where the fuck was Latrell Mitchell? In the second half, Latrell Mitchell was absolutely dog shit. He made me fucking physically sick on the inside, and I don't know why the fuck he's still at fullback. The one thing Wayne Bennett did right was put Cam Murray at lock because of his beautiful soft hands in the middle. Beautiful soft hands he does when he gets those short balls. He played well, Cam Murray, but for fuck's sake, put Latrell in the centres, and I guarantee you, South Sydney will play a lot better. They might even be the top side if they put Latrell centres. They really need Cody Walker back. Troy Dargan's only a young kid. He's played 2 games, but, you know, it's tough for Troy Dargan up against the Roosters in Melbourne. His first 2 games, it's really tough for the young bloke. I hope he gets better as his career goes on, but I think Wayne Bennett's fucking starting to lose. You know, for Wayne Bennett, why would you rush a young kid into the halves against the Roosters and the Storm? Why wouldn't you put an experienced player in there if you have anyone in the roster on the team? For fuck's sake. I don't know what Wayne's doing. I think he's losing the plot. And South Sydney, for mine, look way too structured still. As for Melbourne, they were clunky in a lot of periods of the game. They are still pretty structured, Melbourne. Their right side attack needs a lot of work. I don't see Jerome Hughes as a halfback. I thought Jerome Hughes tonight was very average at best. He did set up a try for Vunivalu, but that was on the back of Munster. It was a bit of a fluke too because Johnson dropped it. Vunivalu picked it up and scored, but Jerome Hughes is not a halfback. If the Melbourne Storm want to win a premiership in 2020, Jerome Hughes is not the guy to get you a premiership at halfback. I'm telling you right now. The Melbourne Storm will not win the premiership if Jerome Hughes is playing halfback. Absolutely no chance in the world. But, you know, I'm going to give South Sydney's performance tonight a 4 out of 10. And I'm going to give Melbourne's performance a 6 out of 10. It was an average game. It was not a great game of football. There was too many errors. It was a really stop-started game. Lots of captain's challenges. Lots of stop-starts. Couple of ridiculous penalties that slowed the game down. It wasn't a quick game at all, I don't reckon. A lot of stop-start anyway. Anyway, tonight, you know, I thought my man of the match in the Melbourne Storm South Sydney game would go to Cameron Munster. I thought Munster was absolutely brilliant tonight, and I thought Munster was best on ground for mine. Pappenhausen probably goes second, and for third best on ground, I'll give it to what's his name? Fucking Dale Finucane. Dale Finucane was great tonight. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. Hope you guys enjoyed the Friday Night Football review for round 4 of the NRL competition. Tomorrow night I'll be back for the Saturday Night Football review, which I'll be reviewing the 2 games between the Eels and the Seagulls, and the mighty Cowboys and the Cronulla Sharks. Anyway, guys, I'm going to get out of here for now. Make sure you guys go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Congratulations to the Panthers and the Storm on a great win. Go the Cowboys tomorrow night. Have a good one, guys.